Good morning. It's supposed to be good evening. It's Erin Huland. I was supposed to come to you guys live Wednesday night for Winedown, and I was hoping to come to you guys from Germany, but I wasn't able to swing that, and so I figured, okay, I'll be able to do this while I'm in the midst of traveling and I have my layovers in the airport, and I wasn't able to get a good enough connection to be able to do the live stream. And I had some crazy traveling. My layovers turned into no layovers, but that's a whole nother story. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about for this week's Winedown was international conferences and conventions, and why it's important to try and go to those. So I attended the first ever creative grooming conference in the UK, the Global Creative Grooming Conference and Model Dog Conference and Contest. And this was given by Vicky Pierman. She put the show on. She spent a long time organizing it, getting it together, and putting on a show for just creative grooming. That isn't as big in the UK as it is here. It was held in Birmingham, England. And it was a really, really fun convention. Like, it was really awesome. It was her first time doing this convention and putting everything together. She had Colin Taylor there as a judge. She had Holly, and I'm gonna forget her last name. And I'll have to look it up. I want to say Evans, but I don't think that was it. Might be Holly Mills. She judged as well. Myself, I judged, and Alyssa Kasiba also judged. And they had model dog grooming, creative, and purebred and freestyle. They had salon creative for live dogs. They had extreme creative. They had what they referred to as Asian fusion, and then they had freestyle for the live dogs. So they had 4 or 5 different competitions, and they did one day of conferences, so educational classes, and one day of competitions. So it was Saturday and Sunday of October 4th and 5th. And we did Saturday classes, so there was 4 classes all day. They had Holly Mills was teaching one of them. Beatrice Coloma taught a class, I taught a class, and Alyssa Kasiba taught a class. And they did it very differently than we do at home. They had 2 teachers at the same time in the same room teaching, and so they had 2 classes in the morning for 3 hours and 2 classes in the afternoon with a break in between. So what they did and how they structured their classes was everybody sat in one room. You had 2 educators teaching 2 different subjects with 2 tables next to each other, and they just took turns. So one instructor would start teaching, and then they would take a break. The other instructor would start teaching their subject, and while they were doing that, that allowed the first instructor to go in front of their dog, fix anything that was maybe off or a little crooked because you're teaching kind of sideways or from the side or from the back of the dog. So it allowed them to go and kind of fix things, make sure it was accurate, even, maybe do the other side while they're waiting on the other teacher that's speaking. And the educators worked great with each other. They were able to take turns and stop for a little bit to let the other educator go, and there was no none of them got upset. There was no stepping on each other's toes. There was no getting lost. The audience or attendees was able to ask questions. They were able to come up and see the dogs, get a good look. They had a big screen projector that they were showing what the educators were working on. So that way, if you couldn't get a good view, you could see the projector screen and see what they were doing. There was about 30 people in attendance for the classes, and it was really nice to be able to see what the other teacher was teaching and instructing on, and not have to miss out on a class to attend one class or the other. So the attendees paid for the whole day, and they were able to get 4 classes out of the entire day and have enough time in each class that the speakers could do their full demo and not have to worry about running out of time. So it was a much different structure than what we have in the States. But that was the neat thing about doing a class in another country and attending classes and education in another country, to see how they do their shows and how differently they do it from us. So that was really interesting for me. I had a great time. I enjoyed my class. I taught a temporary coat carving, or coat carving with temporary colors and gems. And I taught alongside Holly Mills, and she did an Asian fusion class. So that was really interesting to see and to participate in doing a different style of education for these groomers. Sunday brought the competitions early in the morning, and that was also really interesting. They had the model dogs in the same ring as the creative salon and the extreme creative. So those were done a little bit differently. We don't have salon creative in most of our conferences. I think there are a few conferences or conventions that do them, but not a lot of them. So it was really neat to see that level of creative, that different style competition, compared to our extreme creative grooming competitions. So that was a really neat experience to be able to judge and participate in judging both of those competitions for the live dogs. So they had extreme creative, and then they had salon creative, and they also had creative grooming for the model dogs, and they had Asian fusion, and they also had the purebred model dogs. So that was a lot of fun to be able to judge those competitions and take part in that, and to see how they do their competitions in the UK. It's a little bit different than how we do it. Their placements, I thought it was kind of interesting. When the competition was over, they didn't directly announce their winners as third place, second place, first place. What they did was they announced their top 3 people that placed, but not their placements. They did that at the end of the show when they did best in show. Then for each competition, they announced their third place, second place, first place. So that was a really interesting way on how they do their competitions, to kind of have that anticipation going for the competitors, and for them to have that anticipation of what placement they got, but they knew that they had won something. They knew they had gotten a placement. So that was really interesting to see, just a different way of doing things. The competition and the conference was held in this cute little hotel in Coventry, and I had a blast there. It was a really, really nice hotel. It was a really nice atmosphere. The classrooms, the setting for the competition was really neat, very similar to some of our smaller ones. The grounds were beautiful. It was a really, really nice location, and it was pretty central to London, so almost the whole country was able to drive down. It was in driving distance for the competitors, instead of having it on the south side or the north side, and it makes it a little bit harder for the rest of the country to come. We even had somebody from, I believe, Ireland came over. We had somebody from Italy that came, Spain, even someone from the Netherlands that came and competed. So it was really neat to see people coming from other countries to participate in this competition. And I know there's several competitions in other countries. I know Brazil does quite a few. There's Groomania in Belgium that does the Worlds. That's a great one. There's a retail Interzoo in Germany, a retail conference or convention, but it does have grooming booths, grooming related booths. They just don't have any competitions there. So it's really neat to see other countries and to be able to participate in their conventions. So that is something I highly recommend that you look into. Mexico has some, Canada has several that are within driving distance for those of you that are in the US, and even flying distance, like very easily doable. So branch out, broaden your horizons, look at these other competitions and conferences that are held in different countries of the world, and see how things are done. There, you may learn something different that you can bring over to the States and implement into your salon. You can suggest it to the convention, the producers, the promoters that do contests and shows out here. Something that may benefit the groomers out in the US. I know in California we have our Cali Grooms South and Central that we always are looking for new ways, innovative ways to make that competition better, and that's something that we can do. Terry DiMarino travels a lot. She's been to several conventions out of the country where she has probably been able to learn several things and implement them into the CPPGA, into her classes that she teaches, into her judging, into our two small competitions that we do currently right now. So hopefully Vicki will make this an annual competition and it won't be a one and done. As I know, I will definitely be attending again if they have it next year. It was a really, really great show. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful Saturday. I had a nice day to recover from traveling yesterday. Not long enough. I need a vacation from the vacation, but I do have to go back to work today. So I am going to go ahead and get going. And if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments and I will answer any questions that I am able to. And I'm sure if Terry sees it and she has more knowledge of other shows and can answer any of your questions better, she will also be able to put that in as well. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. My apologies again for this being 2 days late, but better late than never. All right, guys, have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.